Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Perdana Parlintu Aritonang. So, praise be to God for today. I'm gonna to answer the audio I received. Let's get started. Part 1. Answer the question below. Number 1. What transformation did the prince undergo after his death? And what did this allow him to realize? And my answer is, after his death, the prince's soul was placed in a beautiful golden statue overlooking the city. From this high position, he could see all the suffering and poverty of the people below, which he had been unaware of during his lifetime. This transformation allowed him to realize how much pain and injustice existed in the world. Number 2. What did the sailor initially decide to stay behind in the city instead of migrating to Egypt? My answer is, the swallow stayed behind folks one night to help the happy prince carry out an act of kindness. Although he had planned to go to Egypt with the other swallows, he was moved by the prince's sadness and compassion. Next, number 3. What was the first act of charity the happy prince asked the swallow to perform? My answer is, the first act of charity was to take the ruby from the prince's heart and give it to a poor seamstress whose sick child needed medicine. Number 4. How does the relationship between the happy prince and the swallow develop throughout the story? The answer is, the relationship evolves from simple acquaintance to deep friendship and mutual love. At first, the swallow helps reluctantly, but as he witnesses the prince's kindness, he becomes emotionally attached and stays with him out of love and loyalty. Next, number 5. Why does the swallow agree to stay one night with the prince, and what the change in his emotion accompanies that decision? My answer is, the swallow agrees to stay one night out of pity for the prince's tears. As he continues to help, pity turns into admiration and love. He finds joy in selflessness and compassion rather than personal pleasure. Number 6. Why is the swallow's offer to bring jewels back next spring significant in the moral structure of the story? My answer is, it shows the swallow's complete transformation from a self-centered bird to a selfless being. His willingness to return reflects the moral message that true happiness comes from giving and love, not from wealth or luxury. Next, number 7. How does the happy prince's blindness deepen the story's theme of inner vision? My answer is, when the happy prince becomes blind, he can no longer see outwardly, but his moral and spiritual side remains strong. It symbolizes that true vision does not depend on the eyes, but on the heart's ability to perceive goodness and compassion. Number 8. When the town councillor compares the happy prince to a withered robe, what does he mean, and what is ironic about his statement? My answer is, the councillor means that the statue is merely decorative and turned with the wind, like a weathercock. The irony is that while the councillor sees the statue as useless, and Happy Prince is actually full of love and compassion, unlike the vain and selfish stones people. Next, number 9. What is the significance of God's final judgment at the end of the story? My answer is, God declares that the two most precious things in the city are the dead soul and the broken heart of the happy prince. This shows that heavenly values are based on love, sacrifice, and compassion, not on material beauty or social status. So the last, number 10, retell the story using your own words. And my own words is, the happy prince was once a joyful and wealthy young man who never saw sadness. After his death, a statue of him was placed above the city, covered in gold and jewels. From there, he saw how pure and miserable the people were and felt deep sorrow. A swallow resting at his feet agreed to help him give away his riches. The ruby, the sapphire eyes, and the gold to the needy. Each act of kindness made the statue look less beautiful but brought comfort to others. When the winter came, the swallow refused to leave the prince and died at his feet. The prince's heart broke, and both were discarded as useless. But in heaven, God welcomed them as the most precious treasures because of their love and sacrifice. Okay guys, next to part 2. So I'm gonna answer from the audio I received. Fulfill the missing part. Okay, let's get started. I've lived in many different countries, both in Western Europe, the Middle East, and now here in Hong Kong. And during all of that time, I've learned 5 or 6 different languages to one degree or another. I love learning languages. Not only are they important when you move to a country, I just find them fascinating. Before I came to Hong Kong, I lived in Barcelona, Spain for 10 years. And when I first arrived, the most important thing was being able to communicate with people locally. I don't attend classes. I don't think I'm particularly good in classes. I prefer to learn by just talking to people, finding out what I need to say, by looking at dictionaries and listening carefully. Other things that helped me when I first moved to Spain were watching the typical kinds of programs we see every day on channels around the world. For example, the weather. This is great because they always say the same things, so you can really quickly hear the same word repeated again and again, and the pictures help, of course. Other types of programs that helped me learn Spanish quickly were things like game shows, where the same things happens. They have a catchphrase or a slogan that they repeat endlessly when contestants win, or when they are called to compete. As well as that, I used to pick up the Spanish newspapers. First of all, I just accepted there was no way I was going to understand anything but one or two words. But gradually, I found that I learned lots of new things about this. I was interested because I wanted to know what was happening in the country I lived in. But I also knew that I could learn a lot of language this way. So I take a dictionary with me sometimes, or I'd notice a word and I'd ask other people what they say what it mean. Anyway, by far the best practice I ever had was just talking to people in the street or in shops, where I rehearse in my head what I wanted to say beforehand before I went in. Usually, I made a right mess of it first of all, but after you get over the embarrassment, it's quite funny, really. And people are very sympathetic and supporting in most cases. It took me a long time to develop a good level of Spanish. I lived there for 10 years and I think I'm very fluent now. But I think for the first 2 years that I was there, it was quite a struggle to hold a decent conversation. There were always lots of words and expressions that I didn't pick up on. In particular were the colloquial expressions, idioms, that kind of thing that people use in everyday talk, but you don't necessarily see written down. I didn't find those very easy to learn at all, but it was a lot of fun. And people, as I said, are really supporting when they know that you're genuinely interested in learning their language. So I think enough for today's guys. Subscribe if you enjoyed it. So bye everyone. Thank you very much.